Hello, welcome to Good Work Now, your resource for finding and creating good work. Have you always wanted to start your own business? Are you tired of working for somebody else and you want to be your own boss? If you said yes to any of those questions, then you need to watch today's episode of Good Work Now. You're going to learn about the 3 T's of small businesses. Today, joining me will be Michael Willis. He's a certified public accountant, and he provides accounting, tax, and consulting services to small businesses, individuals, and nonprofit organizations. So let's learn together about the 3 T's of small business. Michael, thank you so much for being on Good Work Now.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. I would like to make a quick disclaimer. Being a CPA licensed in the state of Florida, we're going to be talking about some tax issues, and I have to say that I'm not offering any specific tax advice. These are just very general discussions. Each individual's tax position is unique, and they should seek advice on their situation.
Right, I can understand that. Let's start with the first T of small business. What's that?
Okay, the first T is type,
Okay.
and that refers to the business entity type that you're going to choose to operate your business under. There's a lot of factors that go into that decision, from your product, legal decisions, taxation issues you need to consider. There are 3 basic types that we see for small businesses. There's a lot of different types, but there's 3 we see a lot of. The first is a sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship is a very simple organization, very easy to start up. There's not a lot of documentation involved, very easy to maintain. It's not a lot of maintenance. Very low cost. Essentially, the individual just goes and starts conducting business. They're conducting business personally, so the issue comes up with a sole proprietorship is also they're personally liable for everything that occurs. On the taxation side, it's very simple. The income of your business, whatever business you do, is your income. It's reported by you and the individual on their personal return, and the owner pays taxes accordingly.
So for the sole proprietorship, it's simple, yet your personal assets could be at risk.
Yes, in some situations. Again, that's a legal question that has to be answered.
Sure.
The second type of entity we see is a partnership type, or what we call a flow-through entity. On the partnership side, there's several types of partnerships you can form. Generally, that's with 2 or more people. Then on the other side, there's something called a limited liability company, or an LLC, which we've seen a lot of in recent years. It's very popular. It can be formed with only 1 person or multiple people, so it's a very flexible entity. They're alike in a few ways. They're more complex. They're a more formal entity. They have their own tax ID number. There's a little more documentation involved with forming this, so there's a little more cost.
Okay.
And not extraneous, but there is a little bit more. Having that layer of the company also, in some cases, can limit the owner's liability.
Here we go. Hence the limited liability.
Hence the limited liability.
Okay.
And on the tax side, they do file their own tax returns. These entities file their own tax returns. However, they don't pay tax, income tax in general.
Okay.
These are, again, general statements. That income flows through, hence the flow-through entity, to the owners according to agreement or their ownership, and they pay tax on their personal tax returns on that income. That's where it gets reported. Okay. And then, of course, we have a corporation, which is the most complex of these entities. In general, a corporation is treated as a legal entity unto itself. It's, because of it's a very formal entity, so there's a lot more documentation involved. There's a lot more documentation to maintain for a corporation.
The individual that's considering going into business for themselves needs to look more deeply into these 3 options, do some research, and perhaps consult their tax person.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's now, Michael, talk about the second T.
There are different taxes that small business owners need to be aware of. If you make income, you're going to pay taxes on them. There's federal income taxes that need to be filed, and many states have income taxes that will have to be filed. Depending upon what state you're in and what state you do business in, you may have to file in multiple states. That's something that business owners need to be aware of. Depending upon your product or service, you may have a sales tax liability. In your home state and other states, again, there might be multi-state issues. There's also local sales taxes that may have to be paid. And of course, if you have employees, there's the whole payroll tax issue.
Right.
That's a whole couple shows in of its own.
Exactly.
But you need to be aware of those issues.
Can you say a little bit more about the actual mechanism for paying taxes? How does a small business owner actually do that?
Yes, you fill out a tax return on.
Okay.
There's different periods. It's either a monthly basis. In Florida, anyway, it's either a monthly or quarterly, or even some are on an annual basis. You fill out an actual tax return describing and giving the amount of your taxable sales, and then you remit. You calculate your tax, and whatever you owe is remitted to the proper agency, either by writing a check, or there is electronic funds transfers options available as well.
Okay, let's move on to the third T.
That would be tracking.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've got your business going, you're going to want to track the results, financially speaking. You're going to want to know how much money is coming in, how much is going out. Even if you're not concerned with it, the government's going to be concerned with it. So you need to track your information for income tax purposes, for sales tax purposes, and even payroll tax services.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you track them? There's a couple of options. There's several options available to you. You can hire, you can sub out the service to a professional, a CPA, a bookkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
There's those services available to handle all those things for you, or you can do some or all of it yourself. There's a lot of good accounting software packages out there that's
Mm-hmm.
available. I recommend that whether you're getting a service or whether you're getting a software package, make sure it's tailored to your individual business.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you have inventory, don't have inventory, payroll, no payroll, I mean, each person, each business is unique, and you need to make sure that your service or your payroll or your software package is tailored to you, because otherwise you're either going to have too much or too little of what you need to track your business.
I would imagine, Michael, that tracking is challenging for some folks. For example, let's say that you have a hard time balancing your own personal checkbook. You're going to need to really put some energy into tracking your business. It's going to require some diligence.
Absolutely, and depending upon the complexity of your business, it depends on how much tracking you need to do, how much recording you need to do. I mean, you need to record everything, and how you categorize your expenses, it all depends on your business and how you want to track things and how you need to track things.
Okay, Michael, let's now turn to resources so viewers can pursue additional information. So what recommendations do you have for resources?
There's actually a lot of resources out there for small business. Some require a little more work than others. The first place I would tell people to start is your local library. There's a lot of organizations as well who assist small businesses. One of the bigger ones is the Small Business Development Center. They're all over the country. They're usually associated with a university. Our local one is through Florida Gulf Coast University. And the SBDCs are there to assist small businesses. And their services are generally either free or very low cost. Another one is an organization called SCORE, S-C-O-R-E. And these are retired business people whose job is to give advice to small businesses. Again, their services are generally free or low cost. Another place to look is going to depend on where you live. There's some government and nonprofit agencies out there that assist small businesses. You're going to have to do a little more work to find those, and you're going to have to do a little more work to to get help through those. But again, generally they're free or extremely low cost. And finally, of course, there's me, the paid professionals, CPAs, attorneys, business consultants. Eventually in your business you are going to have to bring one of us in, which is a good thing, because there's a lot we can offer for the price that you pay.
And if folks did want to contact you, Michael, what's the best way for folks to get a hold of you?
I can be contacted by phone. By email is probably the best, because I have that with me everywhere, and that's mwillis@mikewilliscpa.com.
Okay, and we'll get that on the screen. And is there a phone number also? That
Yes,
you could...
239-246-1069.
Terrific. Michael, thank you so much for giving this brushstroke overview of the 3 T's of small business.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Good Work Now, and to see other episodes, please visit our website at www.goodworknow.com, and feel free to email me with any feedback or ideas for future shows at brianmoffitt@comcast.net. Until next time, keep up the good work.